What's up guys, it's me New, and today I'm just going to talk about Mesmer strategy tips and things to avoid. I'll talk about the Scepter, Longsword, 1v2 and everything else later, but for today the focus is on Staff and Sword. And I know the last video was a little bit shaky, okay, a lot shaky, so hopefully I can make this flow better. Alright, let's begin. Staff. Chaos Storm is my favorite skill because of all the boons. In fact, you can literally just sit in it. And you can sit in it because Chaos Storm or Phase Retreat. If you mix one of those two skills, or even both, with Chaos Storm, you have sort of a pseudo invincibility, and melee can't touch you. They can damage you a little bit, but the damage is negligible. Chaos Armor is so beautiful because of the reapplication of boons, and it has no cooldown, so you receive boons and give conditions as fast as you're struck. I promise you'll block at least 2 skills. You'll get Aegis, Protection, Retaliation, Regeneration, all these different boons helping you out, and they're going to get conditions. So as many times as they're hitting you, they're getting conditions, you're getting boons. So basically when you combine those skills, you become practically invincible. One thing I noticed were people casting Chaos Storm at their target's location, and that's fine if you have a cluster of people, maybe at a cap point or a choke point like I did with a thief in a previous video, but if it's a singular target, then don't cast it at their location, cast it at your own location. It's much better to receive the boons from your Chaos Storm than have them get conditions for a little bit and run out. And it's better for you to actually stay in the chaos field than to run out. You're going to want to run out. Don't do it. Getting the boons and all the different buffs that you get from Chaos Storm actually help you more than if you're just dodging haphazardly. So just make sure to remember that. Use it for yourself, gain boons, and 9 out of 10 times melee will run up to you and get conditions anyways. So it's a win-win. If you're wondering whether to use Phase Retreat or Chaos Armor, using either is fine, but for me I like using Phase Retreat. Phase Retreat doesn't let you soak up the extra boons you'd get if you stay in the Chaos field, but you're further away from your opponent and have a clone out. So now they have to either switch weapons to strike from afar, run around, or through the Chaos field. Either or, it's good for you. Okay, assuming you cast Chaos Storm and Chaos Armor, we're going to switch to Sword. Now, assuming you still have Might and Fury, we're going to utilize Blurred Frenzy so that we get the most out of these boons that we have. And in addition, the invulnerability from Distortion keeps us from using up our Aegis when we're struck by an opponent. Really good for melee, so it'll tide us over to our next heal. Oh, yeah, something I noticed. It doesn't say this in the tooltips, but Blurred Frenzy hits everything in the immediate vicinity, not nearby, that's more of an elementalist sort of thing, but just everything directly next to you. So if you see enemy turrets, clones, or minions, you can hit all of them as a form of sort of crowd control. So it's a really good skill, really big damage, in a really small area for a lot of people. Hook it up. Okay, back to Staff. Winds of Chaos is the main auto attack, and it only bounces twice. It's a bit confusing because sometimes it might seem like it'll hit everyone, come back to you, or hit someone and not come back to you. It is a little confusing, but I finally figured it out. If you're going against one person, it'll bounce to them, inflict random condition, then back to you. Now if it's a 1v2, it'll most likely bounce to your 2 opponents and not come back to you. If it does come back to you, you get a couple boons, Might and Fury, just a couple seconds, so don't try to kill yourself for it. But there is a trait that allows you to extend the bounce +1, so for the most part, it'll bounce back to you and give you a short boon no matter what. When it comes to Phase Retreat evasion mechanics, they seem to work a little bit different than dodging. If you dodge the same time you cast Phase Retreat, it probably won't work. I don't know if I was doing it wrong or it hasn't been fixed or modded properly, but it seems like something's a little bit off. So it seems like you should maybe use it as a precautionary evade skill instead of a straight up evade skill. So if someone's about to run up to you and hit you, evade a little bit earlier using that skill than you would if you just dodged. When it comes to Illusionary Warden, it does great with conditions. Even 2 conditions, it'll do an easy 2k. The cooldown is just right, not too fast, not too slow. So when you're about to die, actually it's really good to use it and pair it up with Phantasmal Rogue for some really high damage if your opponent is low, you'll definitely rally. But overall, it's a good skill. Use it when you can, and use it when you have clones up. If possible, try to keep staff clones up over sword clones for the fact that staff clones inflict random conditions unaffected by proration. So that means if you have a clone, its burn will be the same burn as the one you'd inflict. If you have the clone creation on dodge trait active, it's fine because sometimes you have to dodge. But if you can help it, don't dodge if you don't need to. Sword clones are great because they cripple on auto attack, but if you have traded cripple on death like I do, then you really don't need it. Staff clones are basically the best. Okay, that's staff, now time for the sword. Don't overextend yourself. Make sure you don't open yourself up to damage just trying to get off a couple sword strikes chasing after someone. I noticed that in a lot of videos and it's really not good to do. I admit I'm guilty and I've done it a couple times, but usually I've only done it if I have distortion up, the opponent's about to die, or I have enough health to warrant me, just getting off a couple strikes. While your opponent pops at location skills, it'll really hurt you, so only use it if you know you can take some damage or avoid it completely. I mentioned Blurred Frenzy a little bit earlier, so I'm just going to get back to it for a bit. Blurred Frenzy is a great hit confirmation skill. Hit confirmation in the realm of fighting games refers to someone performing a combo and making sure you don't keep attacking while the opponent blocks, so basically they can't use a reversal. The same applies to Guild Wars 2, except in the reverse. Your opponent has to make sure not to keep hitting you while you're invulnerable. While Guild Wars 2 doesn't have reversals, people can dodge out or back away instead, and since Blurred Frenzy lasts for a mere 2 seconds, most average players react too late. Pro to good players, they'll back up, then follow up with more attacks. Typically what I'll do in a situation like that, if someone dodges my first distortion, I'll use another distortion directly after for surprise factor. Melee tend to be stubborn with squishier characters since they're used to winning, so it works in our favor. Now we don't have to run around or chase them. For offhand, I use Torch because Prestige has the best defensive and offensive capabilities in my opinion. You stealth for 3 seconds, but remember, you're not invincible. And I say this because I already knew it, and I'm sure a lot of you already know, but unconsciously I acted like I was invincible. You can still be AoE'd, and you can still have conditions put on you. Actually, I did that to an enemy in one of my 1v1 montages. Don't make the same mistake. And don't hang around. Back up, then run back in for that 3 seconds of burn. In fact, if you run a conditions build, they'll be burning for a good 3 to 4 seconds worth. In addition, if you have a couple staff clones up, they'll have a good chance of inflicting burn as well as a couple other conditions. And actually, if you noticed, the fight I had with that warrior ended up so quick because he was burning and or bleeding the entire time. If you watch the numbers fly, you see he actually had quite a bit of HP. The skill is debatable, but there's no denying the two-pronged attack was really effective. I know earlier I said something contrary about staff clones, but if your endurance bar is full, you have a crit focus build, and your sword out, dodge to keep sword clones up and save vital evade skills like Prestige and Blurred Frenzy for later. Remember, your clones cripple. You can afford to constantly dodge from the auto trait 1 second of Vigor on crit, so Vigor increases endurance regen, and you'll have a lot of it when using the sword, so don't let the extra go to waste if it doesn't hurt your tempo. Okay guys, I guess that's the end of the video for today. I guess I'll be talking more about Longsword, Scepter, 1v2, and other stuff later. So if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, okay? Lately it seems like people haven't really been liking my videos for various reasons, so I've been a little bit down, so I tried to really elevate the quality of this video a little bit more, so I hope that came out. Hopefully it's translated into the video. And make sure you subscribe, share, etc. And I'll be bringing another video soon if you all like it. Okay guys, thanks.